What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Trading Wars, and thank you so much for coming over here, guys. If you're joining me from Spaces, welcome in. Today, we're going to go through all of the charts. We're going to go through everything step by step. We're going to have a great time today. So thank you for coming out, and it's going to be a very informative session. I have a cup of coffee here, and I'm going to go through all the charts. I'm going to talk to you about futures. I'm going to talk to you about options. We're going to talk about your chart requests. We're going to talk about the overall state of the market because we are in some very, very serious, dangerous times. The market is hanging on right now, but not by much. So after hours, we are down on ES 21 points. So 20 points on one contract is $1,000. I am short on some micro contracts, and I'm going to walk you guys through that. Hit me with a 1 if you can hear me loud and clear, and we're going to step right into the war zone. So take a sip of your coffee if you're here with me. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is let's go ahead and let's start off with Tesla, because that's everyone's first question is Tesla. Okay. So I'm going to talk to you about my anchors because a lot of people ask me about my anchors as well. All right. So let's go ahead here. And just to summarize, this is what I'm in right now. And then I'm going to tell you how we got here. So I'm in 3 contracts. Cost basis is 8,601. And the market value, 12,345. I'm up 43%. Unrealized P&L of 3,744. But in order to see the story behind this contract, we need to go back to the beginning. Okay. So also stick around to the end. There's going to be a lifetime Discord giveaway, number 105. So just if you're interested in the lifetime Discord giveaway, make sure you stay all the way to the end. So I have a lot planned for you guys. All right. So we're actually going to start the party on Tesla. We're going to delete everything here. I want to talk to you guys about how I'm drawing the Fibonacci. Okay. So the first entry for these contracts happened at 329. Okay. So let's talk about how we got to 329 first. How did I come up with that? So this candle right here, this happened on the 6th of November. This was last year. This was the starting point of the trend on Tesla, where we kind of broke out of a range. You can see there's a range here. We broke out of the range and started to push forward. Okay. So the first thing that I did there was I took my Fibonacci and I drew my Fibonacci from low to high like this. Okay. And when we're looking at fibs, there's a bunch of them, right? The main things I'm looking at is really this golden zone, 50 to 786 right here. This area is where I want to buy. Okay. So initially, I wanted to buy Tesla here at 307 in this area. I wanted to buy Tesla right here. But as you can see from the chart, Tesla, what's going on, David, brother? Good to see you. Gus, Jonathan. So Tesla did not get to that level. All right. But that's where I really wanted to buy in the beginning at 307. So if we don't come to the 618, then what do we do? Does anybody know? Type in the chat. What do we do? Well, my rule is I don't chase price. So instead, what I did is I used the next anchor, which was the 15th of November, and I took my Fibonacci from this low to high, and I was able to get this entry right here, 329. Okay. And I just want to show you guys this in the Discord because I don't want you guys to think that hindsight trader here. Let's go to the pin messages. All right, see if we can find it. Nvidia, I don't know. Not all my pin messages are showing, but anyways. So let's just go back up in time here. All right. So here's the Tesla chain. Follow the chain all the way up. Okay. So here we go. So this is what the chart. So let me pin this. Where are you? It is pinned. Okay. So 329.36. This was the original leaps play here. Okay. So I said adding to my Tesla position here using 618 fib 329.36. So I had a small position out there on this double inside bar. Then I added here on this 329.36 using the fib. Okay. So that fib would become one of the most epic Fibonacci trades of my career. All right. And we're going to go back to the chart. Here is the buy. And let's go ahead and let's put the basic on. And you'll see from here, guys, we ran up. This is, I mean, if you want to see the power of a Fibonacci, there's no better example than this. Because once we touched that Fibonacci, we rallied almost 48%. Okay. And this was in about 23 days. These calls, so I had 2 of them at that time. They were $5,200. Were worth $25,000 because I had until March. 25,000 over here. And my target where I had on Tesla, I was going to take 1 contract off, was going to be at 500. But you can see, unfortunately, it never went to 500, went to 488.50. All right. But my plan was always to hold these as long as I can. And eventually, if I'm doing really well, is to convert them into options. That's the way I like to play with leaps. I start convert them into shares. Okay. So it's a little bit unfortunate, but that's what happens when you trade names like Tesla. They can go up, they can go down 20, 30, 40% like nothing happened. So now we're going to go back to the full screen. So remember this anchor point here, this low 309.22. So we're going to go ahead and write that down, 309.22. And we're going to take it to the high right here. So this high is 488.50. So I'm going to double click on this and we're going to do 488.50. Okay. And then we're also going to double click here and we're going to put on the 50%. Okay. So right there, my friends, we have a pullback on Tesla of about 23%. And I added 1 more contract. So this is my exposure right now in the position. So this contract, this last entry I shared with you guys, I shared it everywhere. I shared on X, Discord, Twitter, everywhere. The main benefit of coming to the Discord is you get the live stream. So I go live in the Discord right here, and I tell you guys exactly what I'm doing, and also you get my live alerts. All right. So by the way, the Discord is $100 for life. If you're interested, go to tradingwars.com, click on stock options trading. That's $100 for life. Normally it comes with 1 month for free, but I'm going to bump that up to lifetime. Okay. So you pay $100, you get the book. The book will come with the broker statements and the video recordings, and you'll get lifetime access to the Discord where you can get those call outs and the screen share if you're interested. So back here. Okay. So 377.70. We didn't spend too much time here, which I really liked. As soon as we entered the trade, it was pretty much green. But however, right now we're coming back down and we're consolidating. So what do you do now if you miss the position? So my general rule of thumb is I don't like to buy calls on red days. I only like to buy calls. Sorry, I don't like to buy calls on the way up. I only like to buy calls on the way down. So for example, if Tesla is red tomorrow and you want to enter the trade, you can make sure you size accordingly. All right. The other thing that I'm doing with Tesla for a long-term position is any red day on Tesla, I'm accumulating shares. I'm buying, a few shares here and there as, just red days. That's the general approach that I like to use when I am investing on a stock and I don't really have a huge position. I like to build a position on red days only. Okay, so my target here, 537.26 on Tesla. In order for Tesla to get to this 537.26 by March, it's going to need a catalyst, in my opinion. So the markets are going to need to start to stabilize and turn green in order for this to happen, which is very possible because we're still only halfway through January. So we have a lot of time left. Okay. Hey, Ann Bennett, welcome to the Trading Wars Army, guys. Let's welcome Ann with the TW Army Spy VIP. Thank you, Ann, for joining the Trading Wars Army. Appreciate you. Okay, so let's stop here for a second. Do you guys understand Tesla? So this is, everyone asks me, where am I getting my Fibonacci anchors? I'm getting my anchors from what I trade, okay? I'm not just coming up and saying, like, I could take the anchor from here. I could take the anchor from here. I could take the anchor from here. I could take it from anywhere. But the reason I'm picking the anchors is because those are the trades that I'm in that have had reactions, okay, and that are actually trending. That's why I'm using those anchors, because I'm actually trading and taking the play. I don't need to look back on hindsight and draw the fibs when I know the last Fibonacci that worked exceptionally well was 329. So therefore, that's going to be my starting anchor in the next leg, because I understand that the algorithms could be loading again. Okay. Okay. So hit me with a 1 if that makes sense. And what we're going to do before we continue here is we're just going to quickly talk about why we're trading Fibonacci. Okay. So in order to do that, we're going to go to my website, tradingwars.com/resources. You guys should come here if you haven't been here before. And we're going to go to this winning trading psychology. We're going to blow this up. Okay. You don't even need to put your email. Go to the website and download this. So with Fibonacci, the risk to reward ratio, the minimum is generally 2. Hey, the Fade Doctor ET, brother. Welcome to the Trading Wars Army. Let's welcome the Fade Doctor. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you, brother. Okay. So with Fibonacci, the main concept of Fibonacci is we're trading a pullback in a trend. We are trying to achieve this risk reward factors, these ones. Okay. 1.5, 2, 3, 4. For every 100 trades, this is the win rate required. So with the 2-to-1 risk reward, you only need to win 34 out of 100 trades. 3-to-1, you need to win 26 out of 100. 4-to-1, you need to win 21 out of 100 to make a profit. The Fibonacci is a tool. So for example, with Tesla right here, right? We'll go back. So this is the trade here, the original. What's the risk reward on this? What's the risk reward on this 618 here? Well, let's take our position tool. Here's our entry. So the question is, where's your stop loss? Okay, the most conservative is at the swing low. So here's your swing low. All right. So at the peak of this, so right now, the risk reward is 3-to-1. Right now. At the high on this trade, the risk reward was 8-to-1. The best that I've done in 2024 was 10-to-1 risk to reward. So I was able to take $2,000 and convert it into $2,000 of risk and convert it into $20,000 gain cash. Okay. So the reason that I trade Fibonacci is because whenever we get these significant pullbacks, so for example, this 618 Fibonacci on Tesla, what does it line up with? Well, this is lining up with a retracement of roughly 20 to 25%. So therefore, that pullback, if this trade works here, if we do get to this target, I'm going to make at least 3, 4, 5-to-1, at least, depending on where your stop loss is. And that, my friends, is the key to trading. Because if I take Tesla, if I take Nvidia, Apple, Amazon, if I short futures, if I do a bunch of these different setups, but they're all with the risk to reward ratio in mind, if one of those trades hit a massive home run, let's say I get a 10-to-1 risk to reward factor, that one single trade can pay for 10 more losers and I'll still break even. Hit me with the 10 if that makes sense. Okay. So that is very important. That's why I trade fibs, because it optimizes my risk to reward factor. A lot of people trade breakouts, but for me, a breakout will never give me a good enough risk to reward factor, because most of the times when you trade a breakout, if it goes against you right away, you can actually lose 50% to 100% of your account right away, or the position right away, because you're buying at the highs. So this is what I want to do, is continue to trade fibs. And I hope that it can add value to you guys. Okay. So we're going to continue now. The next one we're going to go is Nvidia. All right. So here are my leaps on Nvidia. I'm going to walk you through another story here. So I have 2 contracts. Cost basis 8,685. They're worth 8,975, 3% return. So at the peak, these leaps, these are January 15, 2027, 130 calls, were up about 40% when Nvidia made a new high. So Nvidia, when Nvidia went to 153.13, that was when I had over 30% on the leaps, but we did have this big sell-off and I did add to the leap position. But we're going to talk about the story of how we got here. Okay. So let's talk about the story of how we got here first. There's a lot of fibs on here. Let's clean this up a little bit. Let's double click. Let's put on the basic. All right, so here we go. Okay, so here's the story. This is the original position. So the starting position on Nvidia happened way back on the 6th of September. So we got the lows. This was the August lows, if you guys remember. There was fear of war. There was like all this news going out, and the market gapped down significantly on the 5th of August, and it was immediately bought right back up. All right, so from there, I took my anchor 90.69 to the high of 131.26, and we pulled back roughly 20%. So my first play on Nvidia, and to be honest, I didn't have the courage back then to take bigger risks that I do now, because my account is growing, so I'm more confident to take bigger risks. But really and truly, these type of setups are potentially once in a lifetime. Will we ever see Nvidia at 106 again? Maybe, maybe not. But there's a chance we never will. So technically, I should have been a little bit more heavy on this. But anyways, I got the 107 calls here. We rode it to about 130, 140, and then I converted those into shares. So we're going to hop into the Discord, and let me just show you guys that. For some reason, all my pin messages are not loading, which is annoying. But anyways, so we know this happened in September. So let's just go back up to September. So there's not, like, you'll see in my Discord here in the stocks channel, there's really just, a few setups per week. We just really focus on the best setups. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so here we go. So this was the original. This was back on September 4th. Okay, 106.19. And we ended up taking these 107 calls. So I only put in $761. In hindsight, that should have been $7,600. But, that's hindsight. So anyways, those were the original calls. And then you can see that those calls, we also took AMD at the same time, which I'm going to talk about in a second. So both Nvidia and AMD back in September were monster trades of last year. Really, really good trades. That was a different time in the market. So you could see here, these calls were way higher than 1855, did really, really well, and then converted them into shares. Now from there, we had a new setup that happened this year. Okay, so this is coming off of the swing low back on the 2nd of October to this high right here on the 21st of November. We had this harmonic Fibonacci pattern, and the next buy we had was 129.56. So that's where I entered into the first leap contract. And the first leap contract here, guys, when we got it here at 129.56, this represented a pullback on Nvidia of approximately 15%. That's why I like to use fibs, okay? Because I want to go ahead and get those big 10, 15, 20% pullbacks on the stock with the fib, bought the leaps. At the peak here, we were up about 40%, and then we sold off huge after the news. And this right here is the new anchor that I have from 126.86 to the 153.13. 136.90, I added another leap contract. Okay. And because I added it here, I'm basically flat now on the position. And I might add one more, but this is kind of the maximum that I'm willing to allocate for this play. I might add one more if it gets really cheap. But we have until 2027 here, and it's the 130 calls, which are in the money. And if Nvidia does have a big rampage, my target is right up here in the 160s and the 170s. So if you're not in the position, if you miss the position, what do you do? Same thing, guys. I like to wait for red days in order to enter the position. So if there's a red day, there's a good chance there could be a red day tomorrow. If the market gaps down and we don't hold the gap, we can have a red day, and you can join the position there if you missed it. But make sure you size accordingly to your account. Okay, hit me with the 4 if that makes sense on Nvidia. All right. And Tesla and Nvidia are the two big ones that I wanted to spend a lot of time on. I'm going to go rapid fire through a few of these here. And then we're going to go back to the market recap. And I'm going to talk to you about how I'm shorting futures right now and the concept of shorting futures. Okay. So let's go rapid fire. So we'll come back to SPY. Let's go to Microsoft here. So this is Microsoft on the 4-hour chart. So the last play that I did on Microsoft was I added shares at 424.90. So you could see we've been holding, chopping around the 618 Fibonacci. If we go ahead here, and yeah, I'll talk about AMD in a second. If we go here to the 786, this one right here, guys, the 786 Fibonacci is really starting to come more in play than I've seen in previous history, okay? So the 786 Fibonacci 414.60, generally speaking, in the trending environment, we don't even get to the 786. We come to the 50 and we come to the 618. And then what's going on, George? And then from there, we kind of rip. But I've noticed in the last quarter that we've been coming deeper. And look at these algorithms and these market makers, what they're doing. What are they really doing? So right here, guys, they're coming down to the 78.6% Fibonacci. What is that? That's a pullback of roughly almost 9% on Microsoft. And then we're popping up, 3-4% pretty fast, right? And I'm starting to see the same thing on multiple charts. And that's why this year I'm also making some adaptations, whether I want to play the 786 or not. I've played the 786 Fibonacci in the past, but then I felt like it was out of season, right? But I definitely think, like Spy saying right there, I definitely think they switch it up. They go deeper, they go lighter, depending on their risk to reward factors. 786, guys, if you think about that, if you show up to the dollar store and you get something for 78.6% off, 79% off, that's a pretty good deal, right? Hit me with a 4 if you agree. So I'll be watching this very closely, the development of the 78.6 Fibonacci level, but you'll see that theme as we go through some of these charts. So anyways, I haven't entered into any leaps on Microsoft because I am a big shareholder of Microsoft, but I wanted to share that with you guys. I added some shares, 424.90. All right, so this is the current setup right here. Amazon. Okay, so Amazon, I went ahead and pulled my anchors back after we made this low here. So with Amazon, I bought some shares and I had some leaps from last year. I didn't add any new positions, but the very similar thing. Okay. Here is the fib. You can see we ran to the 786 and they ran it back up and put it back down. If we look at the opposing fib, you see that's a 618 of the short, right? So the short actually is playing the 618 too. The bears, the bulls are trying to play the 618. The bears are trying to play it. And then whenever we have like a situation like this where there's a lot of consolidation, I like to just go back one more leg, and I pulled it all the way down here. This is going to be my money level. 209.98 is going to be my money level for Amazon that I'm looking for. Okay. Hit me with a 4 if you saw that. Let's continue. Google. So Google, I have 2027 leaps on Google as well. It's been consolidating here for a while. Let's go ahead and put on the basic fibs. So this level right here, 189, this level it's holding multiple times. So we're kind of still in that range. One thing to note about Google is relative strength. Even though the market is pulling back, Google is not making fresh lows. It's still in the same Fibonacci setup. The last big buy we had on Google, we bought leaps right here. This was in October. This was a really, really good play. We loaded up here. Nice little play here. So looking to add more if we get to that 189. We talked about Nvidia. Now we're going to talk about AMD. So AMD, I'm very grateful that after that September play on AMD, I did not take another play. And the reason why was this. Let me go ahead and let me show you the daily chart. Let me show you the 4-hour chart for AMD. Okay. So the same time that I bought Nvidia in September, I also bought AMD right here on the 618 Fibonacci. I ran with this 140 calls. These were up a huge amount. I converted them into shares. And then from there, we started selling off. After this rally right here, I was pretty sure that this stock could hold. When we gapped down here, all the gains, so I made about $5,000 on these calls, right? when I lost the $5,000 on the calls, basically through the shares, and I exited the position. Then I started to notice this. Okay, now watch this very closely. Every time we rally on AMD, okay, so there's one. See the 618 rejection. Come again. Another 618 rejection. Okay, let's go again. So this one didn't pull back deep enough, but we had this gap down. Here's your new anchor coming off of this high to low. Look at that 618 rejection right there. And then we started going trending, coming off of this high to low. Okay, didn't tag it there. Pull it back here, another 618. Okay, and then the harmonic pattern, another 618 rejection right here. So let's go ahead and draw that. So we have this, boom, like that. Once I saw every single time we rally on AMD, it consistently got rejected on the Fibonacci level. I knew that I'm not taking any positions. So I haven't taken a new position on AMD, but I went to the monthly chart and 109.54 is a gigantic 618 Fibonacci. And it's going to represent a pullback of approximately 51%. That is the only level that I'm interested in buying AMD. I'll buy some leaps just because, honestly, just because it's a good risk to reward setup. Not even because I like the stock or anything like that, but I think because if we have a 50% pullback on something like an AMD, it is a good opportunity for me for a risk to reward perspective. Yes, George. Yeah, George, I see you sometimes to the penny. So that is my setup there. I'm very happy that I didn't take any more positions on AMD. And I know a lot of people were pushing AMD, and I don't really blame them because it was a big sell-off. So you'd be thinking you'd be getting a good deal. The only difference is I was able to see those 618 rejections every single time. And that gave me confidence to stay away from this. But if we start getting these deep monthly chart pullbacks, it's hard for me to pass on that. Hit me with a 15 if that makes sense. Okay. So watching AMD. Does anybody know what AMD stock is after hours? So how about AMD stop loss if I buy shares at 109? It depends. When I invest, I don't have a stop loss. I don't. But if you're swing trading, like if you want to use a swing trade setup here, I would use this anchor here, which is pretty far though. That's 36.75 or the 786, 77.53. Okay. So I will say this about AMD, Nvidia, everything. If the market on Monday can stabilize and put in a very solid green day, we can see everything pretty much bounce back because the market is waiting for a green day. It hasn't really had a strong green day in a long time. Yeah. So what I do on this AMD play here is I'd be targeting somewhere halfway through the range. So I'd be looking back at like 160, 170, 180 in this area for those leap plays. Okay. All right, let's keep going here. So Apple is the next thing that I entered in. We entered into this last week. I have the December 19, 2025, 250 calls, 4 contracts, 8,640. I'm down 6% on those. The reason I'm down is because I added here on this first fib. I bought 2 contracts there. And then I pulled the anchor back when we started selling off and added 2 more. And my maximum, like that's normal for me to build up to a position here. The maximum I'm willing to really put on any position is about 10K. So from here, the 235.14, we immediately popped up on Apple. So the second part of the position did really well. And that's why I'm kind of close to flat right now. Okay. So this is a great setup on Apple, in my opinion, because we have a drop of basically 10%. And that's kind of unheard of on Apple. So I'm willing to take a chance. Don't forget, Apple is one of those market leaders. So it's worth a shot, right? And if we actually want to just zoom out, we can see that if we zoom out here, this is a previous all-time highs. right here in this box, and we're retesting that. So we're going boom, boom, bang, bang, right? So the plan is to come back to these highs. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. I could be wrong on every single one of these positions if the market starts to get bloody. But one of the main things is I bought time a lot of, a year to 2 years out. And the other thing that I'm doing, which I'm going to talk about right now, is I am shorting futures market. So what I'm about to show you right now, it's going to be extremely sad to watch. Okay. So I'm up 1,619. I just took a screenshot from the broker. But what I'm about to show you right now, okay, this right here is going to hurt you. It's going to hurt, and because it hurts me. And if you're a Fibonacci trader, this one is going to hurt you. Okay, so strap in your seatbelts. So let's go back to last Sunday at the market open. All right, there we go. Let's get rid of this fib. All right, so let's look at this chart together. Okay, so this is last before the market, before the start of last. So this is Friday's close of last week. Okay, so let's take a look at this chart. And you tell me, are you bullish or bearish on this chart? You tell me right now. Let's do an interactive session here. Hit me with the 1 if you're bullish, hit me with the 2 if you're bearish. I know you guys just saw the chart, but just look at this price action here. What do you see? Start telling me some patterns that you see. What do you see? Well, there's a double bottom here, right? Double bottom, there's a bull flag, all these things that people want to talk about. We have the FOMC drop right over here, right? And this could be a potential retracement of that. We also see the all-time high is over here. And this is the presidential election low right over here. Okay. All right. So this is what I'm going to show you right now. So what we're going to do here is we're going to show the bullish setup and the bearish setup. So the bearish setup is very simple. We come from the all-time highs to the low, like this. So we'll go here. All-time high is 6184.50. Okay. The low here is 5866. So we'll go ahead here. We'll do that as well. So this right here, this is the bearish setup. So the bearish setup here is we had this big FOMC drop. This FOMC drop, this right here is the clue, right? Because look at this candle. Is there another candle like this on the chart? Hit me with the 1 for yes, hit me with 2 for no. This drop is over 250 points. 200 points is $10,000 on a contract. But if we zoom out here, we also have the bullish setup coming from this low to high right here. And we're going to add the 786 because we just talked about that. Look at that. So are we starting to see the manipulation that's going on here as well? The 786 Fibonacci, we pop back up 200 points again. Hit me with a 4 if you see that. So the market makers are very happy to be on the edges, the bulls on the 786 here. Let's add the 786 to the short. So never made it to the 786, but we got the 618. And they're on the edge of the 618 here for the short. Okay. But what is, let's go ahead. Let's play the week now. So what happens? Okay. So this is Sunday. We open. So this is last Sunday. So we open, consolidate, start to push up. So this is Monday morning, 6 a.m. Boom, right here. Stop. What is that? So this, my friends, this is a harmonic pattern. Okay, this is a harmonic pattern. We come off of the high. All right. So there's multiple ways to draw this harmonic pattern here. So we come up with this high, low, or you can use this low. Either one is okay. Pull back, new low here. Okay. And then the 618. So this is not a cipher pattern, but nonetheless, this is a 618 rejection, right? So we see this candle come in, and this is supposed to be one of my bread and butter trades. It's a 618 Fibonacci. But I was here in the trade. I was here. I was buying down here, right? The double bottom setup, the 786 Fib. And I honestly, so I was not able to take full advantage of this trade. A lot of people in the Discord did, but I didn't take full advantage because I was still a little bit, married to this setup here. But watch this now, okay? Boom, 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 okay? Boom, 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 boom. And let's fast forward, bang. This trade, yeah, so my brother actually did get this trade. I didn't get this one. This trade, my friends, that's a once in a lifetime trade, honestly. Because let me show you something here. So I'm going to put on some of my special stop losses here. The tightest stop loss that I would do is a 710 stop loss. Okay. So let me just put back on the basic. Don't worry about those numbers. Those are things that I'm developing. Okay. But this is the tightest I do, 710. Or if you want to look at the chart, you can just say, okay, here's the previous swing high. Just put it above that. Either one's fine. Right. But look at this. Right there. That's a 5-to-1 risk to reward. My risk unit is about $5,000. That trade right there would have made me 25,000. However, I'm only up 1,619 because of poor trading. Really, for me, it was. Honestly, it was for me. And I'm going to admit it because I want to get better. Okay. So what I did do though, however, is once I realized that I missed this play, I entered after hours with the after the MLK holiday when we reopened. I entered right here. So right here, this line right here, I entered here. So I'm still up on this position here. Let's bring it down here. I'm still up here. But really, I should have been here. All right. So anyways, I just wanted to show you guys that. But, $25,000 in a week is possible. I know people that are taking $10,000 risk. That's $50,000 right there. Okay. Hit me with a 17 if you see that. So that's my mistake there. And I should have definitely played that a little bit better. But let's go ahead here and let's see what else is on the chopping block now. So what's in danger right now? This is the election low. This is in danger of getting retested. And then after the election low, to be honest, the next real Fibonacci setup is going to be from this anchor here all the way from September. Right there. So what would happen here for the bullish scenario is that we sweep the presidential election lows like this, and then we come back up. Okay. And that is going to represent a drop. Let's see what that is from highs. That's a drop of, let's say, around 6 or 7%, which is a really big deal for the S&P 500. That's a big move. Okay. So that's what I'm looking at going into this week. And I'm just happy at least have some of the shorts on, and I'm probably going to go to break even soon because I don't have the best entry here. If my entry was up here, that would be a different story, but my entry is down here. So I can't really, I got to be a little bit more protective. But what I want to show you here is also how margin works. So with futures contracts, you're allocating a portion of your margin to trade these contracts. And when you trade the contract, you settle to cash. So in this case right here, the market value of these micro contracts is 87,637 for 3 micros. That's what it's actually physically worth. But you only have to come up with a fraction of that depending on the broker. So let's say in this situation, 3 to 5K in order to hold these. So if you have a margin account, it's going to take a portion of your margin and separate it for this play. And then it's going to watch your account. If you get below the maintenance requirement, it's going to liquidate your positions. And that's what you call a margin call. Okay. Hit me with a 5 if that makes sense. So I wanted to share with you guys. So we went through it all. And basically to summarize, if we start to all these leap positions, right? If we start to really pull back in the market, I'm talking about 7, 8, 9% correction. This short position is not a lot. It's not a huge position, but I have this set up here to give me some kind of insurance, some kind of hedge. Okay. That is the power of trading futures. And I am very disappointed that I did not take this one right here. Very disappointed. There's nothing else to say. It's just disappointing for me. But anyways, I have to be better with those plays because the problem is that when your mind, your mentality is constantly bombarded. For example, last year, everything was bullish, right? Market kept making new all-time highs. So that's where your mind kind of goes, as well as when you're going through social media and things like that. Everybody's saying the same thing, blah, blah, blah. Markets always go up, et cetera, et cetera. And then you get a good setup like a double bottom with the fibs, and you start talking yourself into things. But as a real trader, a good trader, you need to always draw both scenarios. So that is what I'm going to be doing moving forward, is I'm going to be drawing both scenarios. What is the bullish scenario and what is the bearish scenario? I'm going to have them both on separate charts. So I'm going to use ES, for example. I'll draw the bearish setups here, and then I'll use MES, which is the same thing, but the micros, to draw the bullish scenario as an example. Okay. So I'll have 2 charts independently looking at 2 different views. Okay. So hit me with a 10 if that makes sense. All right. So what we're going to do now, let's wrap this up and let's just look at SPY quickly. So this is the daily chart of SPY. So very similar thing to what we just talked about, because we're looking at the S&P 500. There's your triple bottom now, right? Your triple bottom here. If this triple bottom cannot hold, we can retest these lows. We have this this gap is still open right here. Okay, so this is the presidential election gap. You know, that's what happened back in November. So that's still there to be filled, and we can start filling that. You know, pretty soon if we start to sell off. The Qs held the 786. You could see that we touched it and we pushed back up. And if we start to turn the corner here, we can start sweeping these lows. And then, like I said, right, what is this ultimately going to end up doing? Like, so if we go back to, let's go to SPX, right? Let's just remove these drawings. So what is this going to end up doing is this is your like immediate anchor is here, right? This is off of the presidential low. This is your immediate anchor. If we start breaking through this, now we're looking at big corrections here. We're coming back here. First stop is the September low. Okay, this low is important because this was around the same time where we had like all of that war news. This was the first pullback, and then this was the actual war, you know, threat and all that stuff that was going on in August. Okay, is it possible that the market can come back to these levels? You know, anything is possible, really. And a lot of it is going to depend on catalysts and what's going on and what the news is and all that stuff. It will, because under the Trump reign, a lot of times you're going to see a lot of headline news from my experience trading the 4 years before. So we have to be ready for all scenarios. That's why I'm doing leaps going longer term. And that's why I'm shorting futures markets. All right. I might even add to my short right here, because basically I think if this triple bottom setup starts to really fail here, you know, I'm starting to think, okay, we could start to get deep pullbacks. And then I don't want to have 3 micros. I want to have more than that. Okay. Hit me with the 8 if that makes sense. All right. So I want to thank you guys so much for coming out. We're going to do a few chart requests. Yeah, so the market is down after hours, like I mentioned here, 28.5 points. That's a pretty big drop. We're going to wrap it up here. We're going to do a lifetime Discord to finish this stream. And we talked about the market outlook. I talked about the $100 lifetime deal. So if you guys are interested, you want to trade futures or you want to trade stocks, both rooms for the swing trades are $100 for a lifetime. So you can just go to the website and you can lock that in. If you want the stocks rooms, $100 for life. Normally it comes with 1 month for free. Everybody's getting the lifetime upgrade in the next 48 hours if you're interested. And if you want the futures room, you just click on this one right here. SPY options mastery. That's $100. Okay. And come trade with us. I'm going to be going live in the live stream section. You'll have that for life as well. And then going back to the chart, we did the market outlook, lifetime Discord giveaway. Also, okay, so how to get started. So I went through tradingwars.com, go to the resources page here, and these 5 lessons, my friends, download these for free. It goes through everything in detail. I have my lessons here, the Fibonacci checklist. I have the journal and all the hookups here, all the discounts on the brokers, the platforms, if you want to get some deals. And also my indicators and scanners are here for free. So go to my website and use this to get started completely free. Drop a like and hit the subscribe button. Okay. So before we do the lifetime Discord giveaway, make sure you guys are subscribed and hit the like button right now. Okay. Subscribe and hit the like button. Let's do 2 or 3 chart requests. We'll do priority for the Trading Wars armies. Anybody with a green in their name, we'll pick you first, and then we'll wrap this up. Yeah, so short term, I don't care what the company is doing. I'm looking at fibs. Long term, I care about what the company is doing. So anything that I buy shares on, I'm always looking at the long term for the company. When I buy options, the plays are based on short term gains. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So that's my style. So long term, my investments are always okay, which companies are going to lead the market, which companies are doing well, earnings, revenue, growth, technology. And then short term, like on AMD, for example, if the stock is down 55%, if I get a bounce of 10 or 15%, I can make some good money in the short run. So that's the way that I look at these things. Okay, so let's go here. So Mr. Marcin, Trading Wars Army, my brother, Sophie. Here we go. So I know a lot of you guys are probably looking at that. Yeah, so I just went through Tesla in detail, brother. You just rewatch this, okay? I spent a lot of time on it. Okay, so let's go ahead here. Let's look at Sophie. Ooh, okay, so there is some short action here. I can see from the chart. Let's go ahead and do that. So coming off of this all-time high to low, we had this Fibonacci retracement here. Let's put on the full. Another 786. You know, that is pretty crazy because you can go across any chart and you can find the market makers doing their thing. They waited for Sophie to retrace 78.6%, which is about a 15% pop. This was the short. This is the risk. Okay, so short risk, very small risk for very high reward potential. Do you guys see that? Hit me with the 4 if that makes sense. All right. So one of the main levels that I use is the 272 extension. Okay, that's usually my target. And then you can see when we got to the 272 extension right here, 1386, we had a really nice pop. But we did have another Fibonacci short coming off of this high to low. Look at this here, guys. This is a beauty. Look at that. Another 618 short. So the shorts in Sophie, based on the chart, very similar to like an AMD setup. They're here to play. You can see it clearly on the chart. And this is what kind of frustrates me when people say that Fibonacci is hocus pocus and it's bullshit. Because tell me why, if I come off of this high to low, we have a pure 618 rejection right here. Can somebody explain that to me? Tell me why that happens then. What's the concept here? Even with a 10 if you understand what I'm saying. And I don't want anybody to like just blindly follow Fibonacci, but I just want you to put it on your chart. Don't be closed-minded enough not to have something on your chart just to see how it reacts. You know, use everything that's available for you. Okay. So this is the most obvious swing low anchor. coming off of the low to high here. I bet you this is a 786 again. Let's see. Look at that. Okay. So this is pretty crazy. You know, I don't trade Sophie, so I don't really want to, like, you know, I like to talk about stocks that I'm in, but for those of you that want to just look at the technicals, so we have the 786 right here, 1390. This must hold. This is a must hold line in the sand. Okay. If we close below this level, like if we close like this, then we could see a revisit of the 13. And then when you get to that level, what you want to do from that point is pull your anchor back. So you want to pull it back to this one right here. And then you're going to be looking to fill this gap. Really, that's where your next level is going to be. But it's pretty impressive to really see those shorts. It's not impressive. It's actually mind blowing. And that's why I dedicate my life to Fibonacci, for things like that. All right, Nike. Yeah, so, you know, I wanted to look at Nike. So it's a good, thank you for bringing that up. So let's go ahead here. So right off the bat on Nike, we got to go to the weekly chart, because I know this one's been getting beat up. I don't want to spend my time looking at, wow, we don't even want to look at the weekly. We got to go to the monthly, you know. This is insane. It's actually pretty sad to see Nike fall off like this hard. So this right here, obviously, this was a big algo buy, right? You could see this. This is during COVID, right? So let's go back in time and let's try to figure out what that was based off of. So I'm seeing a harmonic pattern here. If I come off of here, oops, draw that again. Like this. So I'm going to go ahead and use this as a starting anchor point. There we go. Okay, so that's pretty good. Come off of this low, 47.25. It's pretty sad to see this. So, oh man, look at that. So the low here was $60. The 786 is 59.71. So this is going to be the starting anchor point. And what we're going to do now is we're going to move it to the all-time highs here. And then look at this, okay? So you could see that there was already an attempt to hold the 786. There was also an attempt to hold the 618, okay? But both of those attempts have failed miserably. And one of the main reasons for that failure, in my opinion, is greatly because the market itself is red as well. The S&P 500 is red. The overall markets are red. So that's also weighing down on this. Personally, for me right now, I wouldn't be looking for a position here. This chart is very bearish until we can reclaim. So if we come back up and hold this 786, then you can have a clear entry and a clear stop loss. Then you can maybe risk this much to make maybe this much. Okay. Hit me with the 3 if that makes sense. But I need to really see more, because if I was just playing this straight up, I would have been long here. And then we would have had this pop already. And the fact that it didn't really last that long is concerning for the bulls. Okay, so one more. Let's do this brother right here. Jonathan, what's going on, brother? Good to see you, my friend. MU. So MU we have drawn up. Inside week. Didn't make it to the 618. But inside weeks, we can trade the inside bar breakout. Sorry, it's the inside month. Sorry, this is the monthly chart. So the month is not closed yet. So I would want to see this month close first. If this is an inside month, we can do an easy setup. Take the break of the inside month with the stop below the low like that. And then you'd be looking for this type of move. Or if you want to short it, you just short below right here, right? If we start to turn around, there's your short. You can short it into the fibs as well. But I would love to see this month close. You know what's pretty crazy here, guys? I really think we're in just amazing times right now, because the market is so volatile. It's going to be make or break pretty soon. I honestly believe that, because we've had, just look at the daily chart. The daily chart will tell you the story. We've had so many attempts to hold the 618 for the bulls. So many attempts. The market is bleeding right now. How much longer can the bulls withstand the bleeding? Okay. On Monday, I believe it's their chance to reclaim and turn around and take the ball. If they can't do that on Monday, because generally Mondays have about a 30 to 40% chance to be in the low of the week. If they can't reclaim this on Monday, I think, we can really start to retest these previous swing lows, and that'll be bad for the market, because that'll be like a 5% drop and people will be in panic for the S&P 500. But that'll also bring some really, really nice buying opportunities for long-term holders. Okay. Which is why I'm here, and which is why which is what I'm going to share with you guys, because that's the style of the fibs. So thank you so much. This has been an hour stream. I never like doing an hour because, people tend to drop off, but most people have hanged on, and I'm very grateful. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like, follow the journey. I'll be sharing everything here with you guys. Like I said, the main benefit of coming to the Discord is you get the screen share, you get the book, and you also get my live alerts, but you can always follow along just like this. If you don't have any capital, or if you just want to learn, you can just follow along just like this. So hit the subscribe button. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to do the lifetime Discord giveaway, and we're going to wrap this up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do rapid fire in the chat. We're going to pick a number. I'm picking a number between 1 to 20. I want you to pick one number between 1 to 20. Post in the chat right now. The first number that I see that is the number in my head, the first person to call it out is going to be the winner. And I don't want you guys to feel any type of way, because remember, what the numbers that I'm going to see right now are going to be different than the ones you're seeing on your screen in the chat. Okay, but I'm going to just do this quickly because I want to wrap this up right now. Okay, so here we go. So right here. So number 15 was a number I was thinking about. For those of you that have followed me for a long time, pretty much the number is always number 15. So green zone, you're the winner of the lifetime Discord. Just email me, rich@tradingwars.com, and we'll get you set up. We will be doing more giveaways, and some cash giveaways as well are coming up. All right. So we're going to want to go ahead and do maybe $5,000 of cash this year. Let's see, depending on how my YouTube grows, there'll be more cash given away. My goal is to hit 50,000 subscribers this year. What I'm doing here, guys, what I'm providing, the value, I know in my head what it's worth. And because it's cost me a decade of my life to learn it, and also to get destroyed, blow up accounts, to bring myself back from the grave, to grow from 5,000 to 85,000 on futures. I've done all of these things, and I really am trying to just share the best things that I can with you. So let's try to get to 50K. If we get 50K subscribers, we'll do a lot of money giveaways, a lot of cash money giveaways for you guys. Thank you so much for your time. Don't forget to sign up if you want to take advantage of that deal for the next 48 hours. Go to the website and secure that. I hope to see you guys tomorrow. It's going to be, this week is going to be very critical. There's no short week. There's no, Wednesday close, Thursday, none of that. This is going to be a full week. This is going to be a make or break. And we got to make money. All right. We got to survive. And we got to try our best to, if the market's going down, we got to make money too. We can't just sit back and let it go down without us being a part of the party. All right. Thank you so much for your time. Tradingwars.com. Check me out. Hit the subscribe button. And I'll see you guys on the other side. Take care.